Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is T of the FTK Crochet brand and I'm back with another tutorial. So last week I posted the tutorial for this skirt and I promised you that my next video is going to be the top. So today we are going to be making the top for this beautiful skirt. You see how beautiful the two-piece looks? It is a step-by-step detailed tutorial, so it is beginner friendly. If you are new to crochet, this is something you can actually make for yourself or for your loved one. But before we go into today's tutorial, have you subscribed to my channel yet? Don't you think you're missing too much not subscribed to this channel? So I'm going to give you a minute now to click on the subscription bell below so you do not miss out on any of the tutorial that I post on here. Alright, so without further ado, let us get into today's tutorial. Okay, so for this project, these are the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need your yarn, of course. So for this yarn, I'm going to be using a 4-ply acrylic yarn. All right, so the yarn happens to be 2-ply acrylic yarn. So I'm going to be putting 2 strands together to create my own 4-ply acrylic yarn. Okay, but you can go ahead to use whatever yarn you feel comfortable working with. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to be working with this very deep brown color and this mustard yellow color. All right, so you are going to need your scissors. You're going to need a tapestry needle, a measurement tape, very important. You're going to need some stitch markers, and on this one I'm going to be working with a 4.5 millimeter hook size. All right, so let us get into it. Okay, so the measurement you are going to need for this one is your bust measurement minus 5 inches. All right, so let us begin. So I'm going to be making this measurement with my own measurement. My bust measures 39. All right, so if I minus 5 inches out of 39, I'm going to get 34 inches. So the chain I'm going to be making now is going to be exactly 34 inches. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you go ahead to make your foundation chain and I'll be right back to tell you how many I end up doing and what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with my foundation chain and I ended up making 100 chains altogether. So this 100 chains now is what is going to give me my 34 inches that I'm going for. All right, so to begin the row 1, you are just going to chain up 1 and on you are going to skip this 1 stitch now. Then on the next stitch, you are going to be going in there with 1 single crochet. And on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with 1 single crochet, and on the next 1 single crochet. So for this row 1, you are going to be putting in 1 single crochet until you get to the end of this row. And when I get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the first row now. All right, so to begin the next row, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, then turn your work to the other side, just like this. All right, so for this row now, we are going to be doing double crochet all across. Okay, so if you're familiar with the alpine stitch, I still struggle to call this name. All right, so if you're familiar with this stitch, this is what we are doing here again. All right, so this chain 3 is going to be serving as the first double crochet for us. So on the next stitch now, you're going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. And on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. So for this row, you're just going to be putting in 1 double crochet on each of the stitches until you get to the end of the row right here. When I get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with the row 2. So correction, this row 2 is half double crochet, not double crochet. All right, so the row 1 after the foundation chain is a single crochet, then the row 2 is half double crochet. All right, so for the row 3 now, we are to begin the row 3, you are going to chain up 1, turn your work to the other side, and now you are going to be doing a single crochet on the very first stitch, and on the next stitch you're going to be going in there with a single crochet. So for this row 3, you are going to be doing a single crochet all across, and I will meet you at the end here. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 3 now, and this is how it's looking. So to begin the next row, you are going to chain up three, one, two, and three. So this chain three is going to be serving as our first double crochet. So you turn your work to the other side, and on this next stitch now, you see the stitch below, you are going to be doing a front post double crochet with that next stitch. All right, and then now you are going to be doing a regular double crochet on the previous single crochet row that you just did right here. All right, and on the next stitch you're going to be going in there with a front post on the previous double crochet row. You pick the stitch from there and do a front post double crochet. And on the next stitch, which is this stitch here, you are going to be doing a regular double crochet on the previous single crochet row. So this is what you are going to continue for this row. Front post on the previous double crochet row and a regular double crochet on the previous single crochet row. So this is what you are going to continue until the end of this row. And when I get to the end here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row now. And as you can see, after putting in my last double crochet right here, there is no other stitch to do a front post for. So what you are going to do here, you are going to be going into the space here just before the chain three that we did. Okay, so you are going to go into that space and do a double crochet in there just like this to end the row. All right, so now to begin the next row, you are going to chain up one and turn your work to the other side. So this row is going to be a single crochet row. All right, so on this same stitch now, you are going to be going in there with one single crochet. On the next stitch, you are going to be going in there with one single crochet. The next stitch, one single crochet. So that is what you are going to be doing all across until you get to the end here. When I get here, I'll come back to tell you how we are going to begin the next row. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the single crochet row now. So to begin the next row, you are going to chain up two, one and two, and then turn your work to the other side. All right, so this time around the chain two is not going to be serving as one double crochet for us. All right, because our next stitch here is supposed to be getting one double crochet. So now this is what you are going to do. Please watch carefully. You are going to yarn over, and then you see this chain three stitch you did previously. This is where you are going to be doing your front post with. Just watch it. You take the stitch from the back like this and do a double crochet on that stitch just like this to create your very first front post double crochet, and put a stitch on that stitch so you do not make a mistake when you are coming back, just like this. All right, so now the next stitch is going to be a regular double crochet on the previous front post that you did here like this. So you see what happens here now, right? So on the next stitch now, it happens to be the regular double crochet from the previous row. That is where you're going to be doing your next front post double crochet. And on the next stitch now happens to be the front post from the previous double crochet. That is where you now do a regular double crochet on top. All right, so the next stitch happens to be the previous regular double crochet. That is where you now do your front posts. So this is what you are going to continue. The next stitch, a regular double crochet, and the next stitch, a front post double crochet. The next stitch, a regular double crochet, and the next stitch, a front post double crochet. So this is what you are going to continue for the entire row. All right, so as you can see, our alpine stitch is taking shape now already. All right, so this is exactly what you continue now until you get to the end of this row right here. When you get to the end of this row, you chain up one again, turn your work to the other side and do a single crochet back to this particular place here, and keep doing exactly the same thing that we just did here. So it is just a repetition of the single crochet row and the front post and the back post of double crochets. So this is how you do it to create the length that you are going for. All right, so me now, I'm going to go off camera to create the length that I want for my top, and I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with my rows, and I've gotten the length that I'm going for. All right, so I ended up doing exactly 8.5 inches, but by the time I repeat what I did here on this part, I will get up to 9 inches. So I'm going to be stopping on the 9 inches. All right, so this brown color that is on top here, I'm going to be putting it here as well. So the contrast of the brown and the yellow is going to come at the bottom here as well. Okay, so what I did, the rows I did to get this one is 12 at the bottom, 2 with the brown, 12 here again, and then 2 here. So 12 plus 12, 24, 24 plus 4 is 28, 28 plus 1, 28 plus 2, I did 30 rows altogether for this one. But like I said, just because I want the contrast at the bottom too, the way it is on top, I'm going to be adding just 2 more rows here, which is 1 more row of single crochet and 1 more row of double crochet, just to give me the contrast that I'm going for. Okay, so I'm done putting in the rows I told you I'm going to be doing, the rows of brown. So I have this here now and I have this here. All right, but as usual, I'm not going to be using this parts for the top. I'm going to be switching to where we started from. So this is the row we started from. So the what I did to get this part here, when we started with a foundation chain and a single crochet. So already we have a single crochet of the yellow behind. That is why when you see me doing the alpine stitch, which is the front rows and the regular double crochet, you see it coming out like this. I like this effect on this part. Makes it look like fire. All right, so this is the part I'm going to be using for the front area. All right, so as you can see, I have my stitch markers all around now because these are the places that I'm going to be working the hand from. Okay, so what I did, I counted the stitches from the end here and I marked the middle. So like I told you, I made 100 chains when I began. So I counted 50 from here and got my first stitch marker here, 50 from here and got my first stitch marker here. So for the neck area, I took out 8 inches. So that is why you are seeing 2 stitch markers on this part, because this is where it's going to be the neck area. All right, so the part we are going to crocheting up now is going to be this big. Okay, so this is 4 stitches. That's why you see these 2 stitch markers here. So, and the last part now is the arm area. So this is the part that is going to go to the back just like this. All right, so for this part, I left out 6 inches on this part. That is what gave me these 2 stitch markers at the back. But this is for the measurement of this one that I'm making, which is my own. So what I will advise now, I will advise you put it on your body or the person you are making it for, or if possible, a mannequin, okay, to take all of these measurements so that you will get the exact one that you are going for. All right, so in order to get the middle, you have to start with these parts. But now I don't need this again. And this is my neck area. So like I told you, I took out exactly 8 inches from the neck. And this is what the 8 inches is. And this part, I took out exactly 6 inches from here to this very first stitch marker. I took out exactly 6 inches. All right, so now the next step, we are going to be working our arm area. So the one that is going to go up your shoulders. Now that is what we're going to be working on. Okay, so for this one now, you are going to be taking around your arm so you know how much of the rope you are going to be making that will cross all through your shoulders to the back here. Okay, so now I'm going to be doing that with my brown yarn. So I'm done using the yellow yarn for now, so this is what I'm going to be using. But like I said, if you are using just one color, you don't have to go through the stress of knowing the colors to come in and the one not to. Okay. All right, so to begin that one now, you are going to be reattaching your yarn on the second stitch marker here. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? So I'm going to take out this stitch marker from here, just like this, and that is where I'm going to reattach my yarn. And now I'm going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this 4 is going to be standing as our first treble crochet, because now we are going to be working treble crochet for the hand. Okay, so now this is 1. On the next stitch now, you are going to be going in there with 1 treble crochet. I believe by now we all know how to make a treble crochet. All right, so on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with 1 treble crochet, just like this. Okay, and on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with 1 treble crochet. So you're going to remove your stitch marker because this happens to be the very last stitch, and you do 1 treble crochet on that stitch. So that gives you 4 treble crochets. All right, so to begin the next row now, you're going to chain up 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then turn your work to the other side and do a treble crochet on the next stitch, because this chain 4 is going to be serving as 1 treble crochet for us. So now with this one, this is 2. All right, and on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with just 1 treble crochet, and this is 3. And now you see the chain 4 you started with, you're going to be going in the last chain 4 stitch here. Now you're going to put in the last treble crochet on that stitch to make it 4, just like this. All right, so this is what you are going to be doing for the hand area until you get the measurements of the one that is going through your shoulders. All right, so chain up 4 again, 2, 3, and 4, and then turn your work to the other side. And this chain 4, don't forget, is going to be serving as 1 treble. So on the next stitch, you're going to go in there with 1 treble, making it 2. And then on the next stitch, you're going to go in with 1 treble, making it 3. And on the next stitch, you're going to be going in there with the last treble on the chain 4 stitch you started with right here. Okay, so keep doing this until you get to this part here. And I'll come back to show you how we are going to attach this and how many of this row I end up making. Okay? Okay, so I'm done with my rows, and I ended up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows. All right, so I'm going to be stopping at 13 rows. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be cutting off the yarn right here. Make sure you leave a little bit of long tail because we are going to be sewing this part to the back parts now. All right, so make sure the tail you are leaving is long enough to actually do that sewing. Okay, and then you are going to chain up 1 and tie, just like this. All right, so now what we are going to be doing, you're going to turn your work to the other side like this now, and fold this part in just like this. All right, so you are going to make sure that it is exactly where the 2 stitch marker is. That is where you are going to be sewing this part to. Okay, so make sure this part is straight. Hope you're seeing what I'm doing. Make sure this part is straight, and get your needle and put in the long tail just like this inside your needle. All right, so on this very first stitch now, where the stitch marker is, you're going to remove it, and that is where you are going to go into with your needle. All right, and then go into the very first stitch here. Make sure you're taking the stitches from the bottom just like this. All right, and then come back to the body of the top again. On the next stitch, you're going to be going into that stitch through the bottom just like this, and go into the next stitch on the hand, take it through the bottom, come back to the body again, take it through the bottom, and back to the hand again, take it through the bottom. So now we have our last stitch right here, and take it through the bottom, and then the last stitch right here as well, and take it through the bottom just like this. All right, so as you can see, it's as easy as possible. Now we are done with the first hand. So what you are going to do now, you go ahead to do exactly the same thing for the second hand. I'm going to go off camera now to create exactly the same thing I just did here for the second hand, and I'll be right back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done creating both the arms, and this is how it's looking. All right, so the next step now, we are going to be doing our little design on the inside here, which is the chest area, before we start working on the hand fully. All right, so to begin that now, you are going to reattach your yarn at the back here. The exact stitch that you ended the hand. You see, this last stitch here, that is where you are going to reattach your yarn. And then you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now you are going to be skipping this very first row here, and on the next row, the space on the next row, now please just watch what I'm doing. Okay, you are going to be going in there with 5 double crochets on that same space. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so you see this join now, this space here, you are going to be doing a slip stitch on this stitch right here, just like this. All right, so now you are going to chain up 3 again, 1, 2, and 3, and now you are going to be skipping this next row and go into the next space with 5 double crochet on that same space. 1, 2, and 3, 4, then 5. So on the stitch here, just after the space, you are going to be doing a slip stitch on that stitch right there. Okay, and then chain up 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. Skip the next row, which is this row, and on the very next row, you are going to be going in there with 5 double crochet on that same space. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now you are going to do a slip stitch on the stitch just after that space. All right, so this is what you are going to be doing. You see how it's coming out. You keep doing that, and when we get to this part here, I'll come back to show you how we are going to enter into this part. All right, so just keep doing exactly what I've taught you here now. Do it for the remaining parts, then I'll come and show you how we migrate into the chests. All right. Okay, so I'm on the chest area now. So I just want to show you how we begin this chest parts, because it's a little different. All right, so you see I've put in the last 5 double crochets on this space. So now we have just one of this row left. Okay, so you chain up 3 as usual, and you are going to be doing a slip stitch on this very stitch where we started it from. As you can see, where the hand started, you are going to do a slip stitch on that stitch, just like this. All right, so now you are not going to make any chain. You are just going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and on the third stitch you are going to be doing 5 double crochet on that same stitch, 1, 2, and the third you are going to be doing 5 double crochets on that same stitch. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5, just like this. All right, so now you are going to skip another 2 stitch. You skip 2 stitches again, 1, 2, and on the third stitch right here, you are going to do a slip stitch on that stitch, just like this. All right, and then skip 2 stitches again, and on the third you are going to be going in there with 5 double crochets on that same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you skip 2 stitches again and do a slip stitch on the third, and skip 2 stitches again, 1, 2, and on the third do another 5 double crochet on that stitch. So this is what you are going to continue for the rest of the neck area, and I will meet you at the end when I'm done with mine. All right, so this is how it's looking. So you continue doing this now until you get to this part, and you repeat exactly what you did here. You're going to do that on this part as well until you get to the end here. And when I get to the end here, I'll come back to show you what we are going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm at the end here now. So as you can see, I put my last 5 double crochets on this space and I did the slip stitch. So I chained up 3 now, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch on this very stitch here where we started the hand from. All right, and then chain up 1 and then cut off this yarn. Just like that. And then tie it. All right, so you notice that this is a reverse of the one that we did here. Okay, but at the end of the day it came out exactly the same way. So you can see the design is out. So beautiful. All right, so now the next step is going to be working on the hand area. All right, so we are going to be doing a mesh all the way down. You can decide to leave it like this because just like this the top is already made, but if you want it as the long sleeve, then let us get working on that. Okay, okay, so before we start working on the arm area, we are going to be working on the back edges first and create the places where our lace needs to go into. Okay, okay, so to begin, you are going to be reattaching your yarn on the very first stitch right here. And then you are going to chain up 1, just like this. So on this very first stitch now, you're going to be going in there with 1 single crochet, just like this. All right, and on the next space, you're going to be going in there with 2 single crochets. And on the next space, you're going to be going in there with 2 single crochets. And on the next space, you are going to be going in there with 2 single crochets. So for this row, you are just going to be going into each of the spaces with 2 single crochets until you get to the very end right here. Okay, when you get to the end here, put just 1 single crochet at the end here, because don't forget we have 1 single crochet on this part. So when you put the 1 single crochet here, you chain up 1 again and do a single crochet all across back to this place. And when you get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm at the end of the second row of single crochet. So to begin the next row now, you are going to chain up 2. So this part now is going to be the row where we are going to be creating the holes where our lacing is going to go into. Okay, so now that you have 2 chains, you are going to be skipping this very first stitch here, and into the next stitch you are going to do a single crochet on that stitch. So we just created our very first hole right here. So you put a stitch marker on that hole so you do not mistake it. Okay, so with 1, 2, and 3, you put in 3 single crochet and then skip 2 stitches, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and on the third chain you are going to be doing a single crochet. Okay, so we just created our second hole. Okay, so this is 1 single crochet now. The next stitch you're going to be going in there with another single crochet, and another single crochet. So three single crochet, then you are going to chain up two, skip two stitches, and on the third stitch you do another single crochet, and then two more single crochet on the next two stitches to make it three, and then chain up two again, and then you do the same thing, skip two and go into the next, and just keep doing three single crochets on each of the stitches and skip two, chain two, just like that. That's how you create the holes where our chain is going to go into. So keep doing that until the end of the row here. When I get here, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end here now, and as you can see, I'm done creating the holes where our lacing is going to be taking place. So the next step now is going to chain up one and then turn your work to the other side. So we are going to be running single crochet all across here just to make sure our holes are firm. Okay, so it's just the same thing. On this very first stitch now, you are going to be going in there with one single crochet, and on each of the holes you are going to be putting in two single crochet, because you know you chain two and skip two. So that's what you are going to do all across until you get to the end here. So you are going to repeat the same thing on the other side, and I'll be right back when I'm done with mine to show you how we are going to start on the hand. All right. Okay, so I'm done with the last part of the single crochet, the last row of single crochet. So you can see how pronounced our lacing holes are now. You see? All right, so we are done with the back parts. So the main parts now, as promised, is going to be working on the mesh area of the hand. All right, you know we've been using the 4.5 millimeter hook size to work on the body. So now that we are about to start working on the mesh area of the top, we are going to be switching from 4.5 millimeter hook to 5.5 millimeter hook, because when I do my mesh, I like to use a bigger hook size so the mesh will be obvious. All right, I don't know if you understand, but if you still feel comfortable working the mesh stitch with the 4.5, you can go ahead to actually do that if you want it tighter. But me, I'm going to be switching to the 4.5 and 5.5 millimeter hook size. All right. So in order to start that, you are going to be reattaching your yarn on the very middle part here. So this part that is supposed to be your underarm, that is where you are going to be reattaching your yarn. So me, I'm still going to continue using the brown color. So I'm going to be reattaching my yarn now on this very middle part. I had to put a stitch marker so I don't miss the stitch. All right, so to get the middle, all you just need to do, you count the exact stitch from here to the middle, the exact stitch from here to the middle, just to get the middle part. But it doesn't really matter. Me, I just like to do my things accordingly. That's why I'm doing all this. It makes it easier for me to work. All right, so I'm going to reattach my yarn here now, and then I'm going to chain up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so you are going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and on the third stitch you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. All right, so now you are going to chain up 2 and skip 2 stitches, and on the third you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, just like this. All right, chain up 2, skip 2 stitches, and on the third you are going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, just like this. All right, then chain up 2 again. So you see this space here where we did the hand parts, where we started from, you are going to be skipping that space, and then you see the stitch just in between the 2 spaces. That is where you are going to be going with 1 double crochet. Please just watch what I'm doing, okay? So just like this. Okay, so chain up 2, and then the stitch just in between the 2 spaces, that is where you are going with a double crochet, just like this. And then chain up 2 again, skip this space, and on the stitch in between you do your normal double crochet. So this is exactly what you're going to be doing for the row 1. Chain up 2 and skip the space, and on the stitch you're going to go in there with just 1 double crochet. So that's what you're going to do all around. Then when you get to this part again, you know what we did. Skip 2 stitches, and on the third you go in with your double crochet. So Continue doing that all around, and I will meet you here to tell you how we are going to begin our row 2. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. All right, so as you can see, I still have 2 stitches left here. So what you do, chain up 2, 1 and 2, and then go into the space. Now, the very first space we started with, you're going to go in there with a double crochet, just like that. All right, to end this row. So to begin the next row now, you're just going to chain up 2, and on the next space, you're just going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, chain up 2, and on the next space, you're just going to be going in there with 1 double crochet, chain up 2, and on the next space, you're just going to be going in there with 1 double crochet. So this is exactly what you are going to continue. All right, chain up 2, and on the next space you put a double crochet, chain up 2, and on the next space you put a double crochet. So that is exactly what you are going to be doing all through until you get to the length that you want your hand, your mesh, to be right here. Okay, that's why I said in the beginning that one of the measurements that you will need is the length of your arm. Okay, so just keep making 2 chains and putting a double crochet on each of the spaces all around until you get the length that you want. So I'm going off camera now to actually do mine, do both arms as well. Okay, so when I get the length that I need for both the hands, I'll come back to show you how we are going to be ending it. Okay. Okay, so I'm done creating the mesh part of the hands. So I ended up putting in 32 rows on each of the hand. All right. So now the next step, you know the design we put on this part. This one, we are going to be putting it at the end here. I already did the first one, so this is how it's looking. So I'm going to be using the second one now to show you exactly what I did here to give us this beautiful design here. All right. So let us get into that. Okay, so if you got the length that you want for your hand, you don't need to cut off the yarn, just exactly where you stopped. Like I told you, I did exactly 32 rows for my own, and as you can see, I didn't cut off the yarn. So this is exactly where I ended. Okay, so now to start on this particular design now, what you are going to do, you are going to slip a stitch on the next space right here. Okay, so instead of working a double crochet like we've been doing, you're going to do a slip stitch on the next space, just like this. All right, so now you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. So this 3 is going to be serving as our first double crochet. So on this same space, you are going to be going in there with 6 more double crochet to make it 7 double crochets on that same space. All right, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so now on the very next space, you are going to be going in there with a slip stitch, just like this. And on the next space, you are going to be going in there with 7 double crochets again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And on the next space, you do a slip stitch. So this is exactly what you are going to be doing for the entire round. Okay, so when you do a slip stitch, on the next space you put in 7 double crochets, and the next space you get a slip stitch, 7 double crochets. So that is exactly what you are going to do all around, and I will meet you to show you how we end it right here. All right. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row now. So this is how it's looking already. See how beautiful this looks. All right, so to end it here, so after putting in my 7 double crochet on this space, I only have just 1 space left. So what you are going to do on this last space now, I'm just going to do a slip stitch right here to end the row. So you know the next space is supposed to be taking a 7 double crochet, which we already have here. So to end on the row, you are just going to do a slip stitch at the bottom here just to connect it. So you know we started with a chain 3, so you are going to do a slip stitch on the very first stitch, on the very first chain 3 stitch that we started with right here to end the row. All right, so this is it. So you are going to chain up 1 and cut off the yarn. And tie it. Okay, so this is it. We are done with the hand of our top. It's so cute. All right, so the next step now, we are going to be working on the lace that we're going to use to close the back. Right here. So you go ahead now to make a chain that is long enough to actually cover the back. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera now to create my own chain. Okay, and I'm going to come back to show you how we are going to lace it all up. Okay, so I'm done making my chains, and this is how long it is. I ended up making 250 chains, so I think the 250 chains will be enough to actually close this particular place. All right, so I'm just going to show you how I do the lacing. So what I do, I use my tapestry needle. I just put it inside my tapestry needle like this, my chain. So I'll start with this one. Okay, I don't need the stitch marker here anymore. So I'm just going to insert it from the very bottom and then remove it from this side and take the other end. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Right here. Okay, so make sure both ends are equal, just the same thing. All right, so the next step is just going to be fixing it in one of the holes after the other, crossing it. Okay, so we all know how to lace a shoe, so it's just exactly the same way you lace your shoe. That is how you are going to be lacing the back up. So you go from the bottom, you go put your tapestry needle through and take the other one and just pass it just like this. So you go ahead to finish yours. Make sure you are crossing it and putting it one side, taking the other one and putting it in the next hole, just like that. Okay, so here we are. I'm done actually lacing mine up, and this is how it's looking. So all you need to do now is just tie this part and you are done with your top, just like this. You see, so we are all ready to go. This is how the back is looking. Let me show you the front. And this is how the front is looking. It's so beautiful. The table cannot show you how beautiful this looks. So all I just need to do now is weave in the remaining of my ends and I'm done with the top. All right, so for the back, you can actually decide to put lacing on the net part as well if you like. All right, but I don't think that is necessary, but it gives it this very beautiful look as well. Or if you feel your hand is too long that is going off your body, you can actually create another chain like this and just chain it, lace it up just like this, like we did at the bottom. All right, so this is our top. We are done with the top. All right, so with this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I did making the video. And if you've not seen the skirt of the video, don't worry, I'm going to be putting the link on the description below because I want you guys to have your own two-piece. It's so beautiful to have. All right. If you have any questions about this project, feel free to drop it on the comment section and I will be happy to help. And if you've not subscribed to my channel before now, what are you waiting for? Don't you think you're missing too much not subscribed to this channel? I'm going to give you a minute now to click on that subscription bell below so you do not miss out on any of the beautiful tutorials that I post on here. All right, make sure you share this video to your friends and your family who wants to make a beautiful top just like this, and make sure you like and comment your thoughts about the top. All right, so until next time, bye bye.